Hello, dear viewers. I am a global nationalist. I support nationalism in my country, India, and in all countries around the world. Today, I want to talk about the Quad and the foreign ministers meeting of the Quad countries that was held earlier this month. Let's begin. So, on Recently, the fourth meeting of the foreign ministers of the Quad grouping was held in Melbourne, Australia. The meeting was held amid escalating tension between Russia and NATO countries over Ukraine, the Afghan crisis, and increasing concern over China's coercion in the Indo-Pacific region. Now, what were the discussions on security and intelligence? There were calls for justice for the 26/11 terror attacks in Mumbai and the Pathankot airbase attack of 2016 for the first time since the group was formed. Quad was already cooperating on sharing intelligence, and they called on all countries to ensure that their territory under their control is not used to launch terror attacks and to bring justice to the perpetrators of such attacks. This is a almost in direct reference to Pakistan and shows that the Quad is not only going to uh, focus on territorial uh, aggression by China, but also on terrorism by countries like Pakistan, which is also an Indo Pacific country, and that they are cooperating on sharing intelligence in this matter. They made a veiled reference to China's actions, reaffirming a commitment to a free and Indo-Pacific, open Indo-Pacific. This means that they want the China to stop uh, infringing upon the borders of India, Japan, and the South China Sea. They want uh, goods to flow freely throughout open waters, international waters, which is as per international law, and that's what they want China to allow to happen. They also spoke about their Quad vaccine initiative to deliver at least 1 billion vaccines produced in India by the end of 2022 to Indo Pacific countries, and to a pledge to donate 1.3 billion vaccine doses globally. Quad meeting also spoke about other stuff, and it was different from the past two meetings of Quad ministers in New York and Tokyo because this was political and sincere and showed a level of maturity of the Quad grouping, that it was no longer in the beginning phases but has become established and is in the second phase of growing further. A senior diplomat told the Hindustan Times that the Quad has actually taken off at Melbourne, with all the four countries agreeing to work together on a shared agenda and vision for the Indo Pacific and beyond. On the eve of the meeting, China described Quad as a confrontational bloc or a security alliance against Beijing. The foreign ministers paid little heed to the description as all the four countries have good relations with each other. And apart from its commitment to keep the Indo-Pacific open and free, the Quad also spoke about supporting vaccines, like I said earlier, counterterrorism, and building resilient and trusted supply chains, which is mentioned here in 2021. The trade ministers of India, Japan, and Australia have formally launched the Supply Chain Resilience Initiative. As liberal democracies, India and Australia said that they will continue to work towards a rule based international order, freedom of navigation in international waters. They also spoke about Myanmar, and they said that they recognize that ASEAN is working with Myanmar to return Myanmar to the path of democracy, and they called for a release of all those arbitrarily detained, including foreigners, unhindered humanitarian access, and calls for an end to violence, all of which I support. These are good measures, interfere, not interfering in Myanmar's internal affairs, just talking about basic human rights without blaming the Myanmar government too much. And it seems that China has somehow supported the Myanmar junta's takeover of the government. So the fact that they're taking some action in regards to this shows that they continue to oppose China, not just in the Pacific Ocean, but also in other countries. And they spoke about emerging technologies related to counterterrorism, infrastructure, humanitarian assistance, and disaster relief. They also spoke about pursuing work on 5G technology. Now, what was India's stand in the meeting? India said it was open to supplying safe and affordable made in India vaccines such as Covovax and Corbevax under the Quad vaccine partnership. Quad is building an agenda which seeks to further India's vision of a free, open, inclusive Indo Pacific. And yeah, the Quad ministers discussed the centrality of ASEAN countries, particularly Indonesia and Philippines, towards its shared vision on Indo Pacific, but without any addition into the grouping. This shows that this is an important point because this shows that Quad will not expand any more with further members. It will remain with these four only, but it is going to work with ASEAN countries because they are uh, the main economic bloc in the Indo-Pacific, and they'll work with them to take on Chinese belligerence towards Taiwan, Japan, and the PLA's posture towards India and East Ladakh. The fact that they mentioned the Republic of Taiwan shows that they are slowly moving towards recognizing Taiwan as a separate country and not as a renegade province of China. So I completely support this. I'm really happy with how the meeting went. India's concerns were taken into account, and so were everyone else's. The Quad is moving forward at a good pace. And however, I would like to respond to something that Shekhar Gupta has said in his latest video about the cut the clutter about this Quad foreign ministers meeting. He was saying how the Quad is being somewhat weakened by the US administration of President Biden. And I want to say that I agree with him because Biden is not taking great, strong initiatives with Quad and is not putting much effort or focus into the Quad's military aspect. I'm glad that he's pushing on the economic front, the healthcare, but the military ties between the Quad countries need to improve, and the US has to lead in that. It is the most powerful country in Quad and should take up a more strong, prominent leadership role. But unfortunately, Biden personally, of course, is uh, suffering from some cognitive decline, perhaps dementia or Alzheimer's, but it's not confirmed. But it's clear that he is forgetting things. He is making errors while speaking, and he is showing signs of his age. And also, his popularity has reduced so that he doesn't have the political capital to make major foreign policy decisions that might be risky for him. So, yeah, um, that's what I wanted to say. If you want to see more videos about the Quad, click on this playlist. If you want to see my previous video, click here. If you want to see the sources I used for this video, click in the description below. Thank you for watching. Vande Mataram.